Absolutely.
God, no.
Do we? Yeah.
With who?
With you.
Really?
Yeah, I think it'd be nice.
Yes. However, gay marriage is not allowed in the majority of the United States at the moment.
I don't want to get married. I don't really care how special the other person is.
I hope he's not watching this, and I hope he doesn't get scared away.
I would be stupid if I did not want to marry this woman.
I do want to marry the person that I am with now.
The answer is yes.
Not against it at this point in time.
I'm not gonna hurt you on camera.
I just don't feel like marriage is something that works for me.
I have goals to fulfill before I even do that, or even think about it.
Probably ends up making people's lives more difficult now.
Being married is signing away what chances you could have had at having a life that could have been much more eventful.
How many years have we been together?
How many years?
I'm asking you.
What, you don't want to marry your girlfriend? I love her, but I don't think we need to run out and get married.
Last night was amazing. You can live however you want to, just so long as you never think of cheating on me.
Cheating?
I think it might be nice to get to know you a little better.
A few quick hits of games I saw that were worth talking about. War of the Worlds, another game by Paramount that was actually the demo immediately after Star Trek that may not get a lot of press. Was actually very impressive. Still very early, but what I saw I liked. War of the Worlds is not based on any of the movies, really. They wanted to tell their own story with this one. You know, it's the same story, but a different take on it. And the general principle of this is, I believe it's going to be an Xbox Live Arcade and PSN game. And the general gameplay style, if you remember the original Prince of Persia, you know, this kind of side-scroller where you jump and hang on ledges and avoid traps and stuff like that. That's the kind of game that War of the Worlds is. And before you think that's kind of a strange concept, you kind of have to see it to understand what I'm talking about. But you play this army soldier who's trying to navigate through Hyde Park as the aliens and the tripods are attacking. And so you've got these, you've got these ruins you've got to navigate, and you gotta take cover. It's kind of a stealth game, sort of, where you've got these flying drones overhead and the tripods are stomping around, and you've got to kind of weave in between the legs of the tripods. And they've got these, the tripods have these searchlights, and if you step in the searchlight, they shoot basically a Dalek kill ray that turns you in, like, it x-rays you and turns you into ash. So, it's actually very clever. It is much more fun probably than I'm making it sound, or at least it looks more fun. They're still kind of hammering it. There was a few kind of AI and level building bugs where the enemies are kind of persistent, and they had to kind of god mode their way out of them, but it was still very cool looking. It's narrated by Patrick Stewart, which was another thing that rather impressed me. The fact that Patrick Stewart's narrating essentially an arcade game. Another thing that what really actually kind of sold me on this one was the fact that it, now that I compare it to Prince of Persia, it actually is closer to Out of This World or Another World. That old game where you have the guy with the gun. And I could actually see if they stay true to that formula, it could be really good. So that one was one that I was really excited about. I don't know when that one's coming out, although probably pretty soon. I would think. Let's see. Catherine. Catherine was a game. Everyone who got a badge at E3 had an ad for Catherine on it, and I took mine out. But yeah, I did. Catherine, I like Atlas games a lot, even if I didn't like Demon's Souls. But Catherine, yeah, this one is kind of a hard one for me to read. I really don't. I even played it, and I don't know what to think. It's a puzzle game, but it's a puzzle game with a story, where you've got this guy who's kind of in this weird head state where he's got this girlfriend, and he meets this sultry woman of mystery, and she's kind of infiltrated his dreams, and in his dreams he's kind of in his underwear, and he's forced to climb a tower very quickly to avoid destruction. And you have to push blocks and pull blocks, and navigate your way through these towers, essentially, of varying difficulty. And it's very strange, which I kind of like. You know, it's almost like kind of a demonic Cubert. It's a really unique take on puzzles, and a really unique way to tell a story. I honestly have never seen anything like this before, and it's that kind of off-the-wall thinking that I really admire when it comes to a game. I don't know if it'll work. I like the puzzles. I like the way that it makes you... The laws of gravity kind of play by different rules in Catherine, where you can kind of push a block out from another block, but since it's a dream, blocks kind of stay where they are unless they're physically acted on. So it's kind of fun that way. So there's a lot of interaction and a lot of thinking. There's a lot of kind of strange logical thinking that makes you think in ways you wouldn't normally think things would work. And so it's very kooky and very off the wall. And you know, all I really could experience, because it was so loud there and so crazy, that I didn't really get a chance to immerse myself in the plot all that much. But yeah, there's a very heavy plot in this game, and I don't know how well it'll work. It's probably one of those love it or hate it type games. Very unusual even for Atlas. You know, on its surface it looks a lot like Persona, you know, Persona 3 or 4 with that kind of anime style. But at the same time, the gameplay is nothing like that. So, Catherine is one I'm really excited to look for. I'm sorry I couldn't be more helpful when it comes to Catherine, but it should definitely, if you look at the demo, and I think you can check out the demo, if it appeals to you at all, it's worth checking out. I think there's buzz around this game for good reason. I think this is going to be one of those really innovative games that turns a lot of heads, almost in the same way that that Killer 7 did. You know, it's the kind of game that took a lot of gambles with storytelling and gameplay, and whether or not it succeeded is very arguable. But the fact that it was innovative and distinct and memorable. Did I say memorable twice? I can't remember. But the fact that it was so memorable is, you know, it definitely has its place in history as a game that should be played, at least played. So that's Catherine. I did not actually get to see Hitman, which I'm told was one of the bigger surprises of the show. I'm sorry about that. I've heard Hitman looked really good. Tomb Raider was another one that I was actually rather surprised with the fact they've changed tone so much. They actually seem to be taking Tomb Raider seriously, which is curious. You know what I mean? For a long time, Lara Croft has kind of been... she's been a sex object, and really nothing more than a sex object, where she's kind of been this sultry British femme fatale who really all you are trying to do is get her in as few clothes as possible, you know, and she has the two, you know, that's it. You know, that's really, there's no excuse except for her to kind of utter, you know, dry one-liners and act smug and superior to people while looking really sexy with enormous knockers. This game, the latest Tomb Raider, honestly seems to be taking her seriously as a character with a past and with an emotional arc, and actually seems to be trying its damnedest to minimize the sex appeal as much as possible. She spends this game dirty, wet, and fucking beat up to shit. There's the opening scene of the movie is the fact that she gets basically fucking drowned in a shipwreck. She has to set her own arm and stuff like that. Oh man, it was fucking brutal. But yeah, I'm actually rather curious to see, because it seems like there's actually a very intense story behind this Tomb Raider. Not so much just kind of a very light and fluffy, you know, action platformer. The big thing for me and the big thing that's always been for Tomb Raider is how good the controls are. I actually like Tomb Raider Legends a lot because I thought it controlled very well. But that's always been the trick that has turned me off of a lot of Tomb Raider games, is the fact that the jumping has almost never been quite there. In fact, in a lot of cases, the jumping has been pretty nightmarish. So I'm actually very impressed with the fact they're taking the game and plot seriously, because I always like a good story with these games. I'm interested to see where they go with this one.